All right, so everybody wants to re-optimize content. It's like the biggest in vogue thing to talk about right now with content marketing, with SEO. Why is it that people want to talk about re-optimizing content? And what is re-optimizing content? Well, for starters, you re-optimize content because it does stuff like this. So here's a chart of all of the clicks that this particular article gets over time. And look at this. Boom. Right when we re-optimize content here, like a day later, we went from about 25 clicks a day to this went all the way up to 195, 137, 141. It's like, it's basically gone 6x overnight. That's why we re-optimize content. And basically what's happening here is that when you re-optimize content, in other words, you write a better version of the existing content that you already have on your site, you take the keywords that you're trying to rank for and you rank in a better position and you get a much higher click-through rate. So if we add in average position here, you're gonna see, okay, here we go. So average position for all keywords, not just the keyword that we're targeting, went from around 8 to 10 all the way up to 5. So it doubled in position. And then if we open the same thing up in Ahrefs, and we take a look at the estimated organic traffic, we're going to see that it goes from roughly 1,000 per month estimate all the way up to 4,100 and climbing. And here's the total page one keywords. It was sitting at around 100, and now it's gone up to almost 250 and climbing. So that is why we re-optimize content. But the question is, how do you figure out which content to actually re-optimize? You don't want to, if you've got hundreds of blogs, you don't want to just randomly re-optimize every single piece of content. You want to be really, really strategic about the pieces that you pick, because this is not going to happen every single time. So what we need to do is we need to use some sort of mathematical process so that we can eliminate the blogs that don't have potential and find the blogs that do have potential and then rewrite those ones. So let's go through the actual process that you would go through in order to figure out which content should be re-optimized and which content you should just probably leave alone. All right, so going into Ahrefs, I'm gonna put in my domain. So I'm using this example, wifitribe.co. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into organic keywords and select that. And what that's going to do is it's going to show me all of the keywords that I rank for on the entire domain. It's not going to be particularly helpful right off the bat, but what we're going to do is we're going to start filtering for all of these different parameters so that we can narrow it down to just the things that we want to work with. All right, so here is a list of every single keyword that this website ranks for. Okay, so let me go through each one of these columns so you know exactly what it is that you're looking for and what we're gonna manipulate so that we eliminate the keywords that we don't want and we are left with keywords that we actually do want. So first column here is the keyword that you're ranking for. And then the next one we're gonna look at is the search volume per month. So this is the average monthly search volume every single month that people search this particular keyword. Then we've got keyword difficulty score. So this is how difficult it is to rank organically for this specific keyword. And then this is the estimated traffic that you're getting for the keyword and your current ranking position, which is right here. All right, now we are trying to re-optimize content because we're trying to get our ranking position higher. And the reason why we want to do that is because the difference in click-through rate from just the first few positions, moving up just a couple positions, is huge. Take a look at this chart. Okay, so if you rank in position 1, you could be getting roughly 24%. This is just an estimate. Sure, it's going to be different for every single keyword, but you could be getting roughly 24% of the entire market. So if you've got a keyword that's getting searched 1,000 times per month, your market share will be 24%, or 240 clicks per month, every single month. That's free traffic every single month. You want that. Now, look, as you drop down, it goes down to about 11%, and then 7%, and then 5%, and then position 5 is 4%. So everyone used to celebrate getting on page 1, like, oh, you got to be page 1 or bust. No, that's not even true. You need to be top 3 or bust. Anything outside of that, and you're practically invisible. Look at this, just drop down to nothing. You can see pretty much position 5 all the way into page 2 is almost the same, right? So of those 1,000 clicks, if you're in position 5, you're only going to get 40 clicks per month. If you're in position 19, you're going to get about 10 clicks per month. Still, it's very, very minimal. So what you want to do is you want to get in the top 3 positions at the very minimum. Ideally, you want to get in positions 1 and 2 for every single thing you re-optimize. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to find the keywords that are just outside the range of generating a lot of traffic. So I'm going to look for anything that's outside the top 3, but I want it within striking range. I don't want to try to re-optimize for something that I'm on page 9 and it's going to take a ton of work to get on a page 1. I want it right there on the cusp, but just not quite there yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these from positions 4 to position 12. So these are right there on the cusp, but they're just out of striking range. So I'll apply that, and now it's only going to show the keywords in which I'm ranking between positions 4 and 12. Okay, next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to filter for search volume. So I don't want to re-optimize a piece of content that isn't going to justify the extra work that's going to go into it. So in other words, I want to be able to generate enough traffic that's going to justify the effort that I'm going to put into it. So people always ask, what is enough search volume? Like, how many searches is enough to write a piece of content? Well, if you think about it from a best and worst case scenario, it helps make that decision for you. So if you've got a best case scenario of around, say, 24%, how many clicks per month would be good enough for you to justify rewriting that piece of content? Well, for me, I'm going to say, well, I think probably about 200 searches per month. That would get me, best case scenario, around 50 or so clicks for my particular keyword, for that specific keyword. That would be enough for me. So I'm going to say, all right, minimum for me is 200 per month. So I'm going to say from 200. And that is going to filter out all of the keywords that have a search volume of under 200. Perfect. Now I've got something a little bit more manageable. The next thing that I want to look at is the keyword difficulty score. What Ahrefs is trying to do here is it's trying to give you a relative scale of how difficult it will be to rank for a specific keyword compared to all other keywords that it has in its entire database, right? So here you can see a keyword difficulty score of 2 is much, much easier to attain than a keyword difficulty score of 33. So just imagine these are all relative to one another. So naturally, you're going to want to, when faced between two different keywords, you're going to try to choose the keyword that has a lower score because it's more attainable. And if you're wondering what is an attainable keyword score for me, well, I put together like a very basic chart that's based on your domain authority. So if your domain authority is between 0 to 30, you're more of like an emerging website, just kind of new and just starting to make your way up, and it's going to be a little bit harder for you to rank. So what I'd say is generally target easy keywords, quote unquote, easy keywords in Ahrefs between 0 to 10. Keyword Finder would be 0 to 29, Longtail Pro 0 to 25. If you're somewhere in the middle, I'd say you could target medium keywords, which would be about 11 to 30 in Ahrefs. And then anything 61 plus, you can pretty much target whatever you want, and then it's going to come down to how well you write your content. So I'm working with this brand here, Wi-Fi Tribe. They're at a 44, so that means I'm going to be targeting medium keywords. So real easily, I'm just going to say anything from 11 to 30 I can handle. All right, so I'm going to put in my filters anything from 0 to 30, and it's going to filter out anything outside of that. Perfect. So last thing I'm going to do, right now all I want to do is rewrite some blog content. So I'm going to filter out for just blog content in that subfolder. So it's going to be contains, and I'm going to do /blog. And then that way, it's only going to grab content that lives in my blog sections. Okay, hit apply, and then I'm going to do show results. Okay, here we go. This makes our job so much easier. You saw that we were starting with near 4,000 words. Now we've got 58 keywords to deal with and just a few URLs. So if you want a bigger list, you can start to expand this a little bit. You can say your search volume is going to be starting from 100, or your keyword difficulty score, you can expand that out a little bit, or you can expand out your positions a little bit. But I wanted a super targeted list that was going to narrow down to just the most viable pages possible on the web that I could tackle. All right, so we're not actually done yet. What we need to do is we need to figure out, in looking at these keywords, if this URL actually ranks for a better keyword. So what I mean by that is you could see right here, this looks like a great keyword. Best countries to move to from USA. See, we rank in position 10, search volume 3,700 per month. Looks great. Like I would just look at this and say, all right, I'm going to re-optimize for this particular keyword. Problem is that this page, you can see, ranks for a whole bunch of keywords. Now, if it ranks in position 1, which won't show up in our filters here, for a better keyword, say getting searched 10,000 times per month, and then I re-optimize the piece of content for that new keyword, then basically what I've done is I have jumped from a really, really good keyword to a keyword that searches 3 times less than the keyword I was already ranking position 1 for. So you could cannibalize your own content and you could drive less traffic if you re-optimize for a worse keyword. So what you want to do is you want to click on this and you want to make sure that there isn't already a better keyword that you're currently ranking for. All right, so we're going to keep in mind best countries to move to from USA. Click on this little drop down here, and then I'm going to click on organic keywords, and it's going to show me all of the keywords that article ranks for. You can see it's 852 currently, total keywords. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that there isn't already a better keyword that we're ranking for that we're going to essentially de-optimize the content for. And you can see right here, best countries for Americans to move to, already ranking in position 1. All right, I don't want to mess with that. That's a great keyword. Position 1 is awesome. There's another position 1 right there. Okay, I don't want to cannibalize this article. It's too similar to the other keyword that it was suggesting, so I'm just going to skip that one. Let's go back to our list and pick something else out and make sure that we're not going to cannibalize that one. Okay, so right here, safest city in Mexico to live. So we've got position 7, 450 search volume. That looks pretty good. So let's take a look at this URL and see if there's anything better that it's already ranking for. We're going to click on organic keywords. And remember, the suggested keyword is 450 search volume. Keyword difficulty score of 26. It's pretty attainable. Now let's see if there's anything that it's already ranking better for. And let's see here. Safest places to live in Mexico. Position 6, 7, 5, 7, 7, 6, 6, 7, 7, 9, 15. Okay, so you can see really this is probably the best one. Safest places to live in Mexico. It's ranking in position 6. Let's do some quick math. All right, if we go from position 6, looking at this chart here, we are getting about 3.26% of clicks for something that is searched, how many times? 1,200 times per month. Now, if we go up to position 1, we could get up to 24% of that. So that's over around 260 clicks per month. That would be an enormous jump. So that is a page that I want to re-optimize. This one I'm going to mark. We want to re-optimize this page. Next thing I want to do, before writing the content, this is the last step. We want to search this in Google and we want to figure out what the title of this article should be. Now, RankBrain has already sorted through all of the content and it's put the stuff that gets the most clicks at the top. So it should give you some idea of what's the most clickable titles there. It should give you some sense of like what the actual intent of this keyword is. So let's just really quickly search it. Safest places to live in Mexico. To live in Mexico. All right, and what we're going to see here is a list, 7 of the safest cities in Mexico, the 5 safest places to live in Mexico. This one is not a list. This one is a list. This one is a list. This one's a list. And this one is ours. Okay, so what do we notice about these titles that should jump right out at you? First off, it should be a list. It should contain some sort of number. There's only one that doesn't contain a number. Second thing, look at this. Updated date, 2022, 2022, 2022. So this should tell you that in looking at these results, the date, the updated date, is important to the searcher, and they're clicking on that, the most often. And also, we're going to use the exact match keyword in the title tag as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to retitle this 8 Safest Places to Live in Mexico to Work Remotely. All right, so your last task now is to rewrite the content and update it in your CMS. So what I would do is either use MarketMuse or ClearScope. These are the two that I'm most familiar with. What they're going to do is they're going to tell you how in depth you've written your content, how well you've covered that topic cluster. And what you want to do is you want to write better content than any of your competitors on Google. So basically, you want to write something more thorough. You want to create the Wikipedia page of that particular keyword, giving the user zero reason to go back to search results and weave together a more complete answer by looking at your competitors. You want to be the last stop shop. Somebody clicks on you and they do not go back to search results ever again. And now this is loaded, we can see here that we've got a content score of a 32. Target is 51. And look on the right-hand side here. We missed all of these subtopics. We missed Zona Rosa, Cabo San Lucas, La Paz. We missed a lot of specific areas. When we compare it to our competitors, we can see, they've done better. TravelMexicoSolo.com at 62. Mexico in My Mind, 35. New Middle Class Dad, 52. All of these are doing much better than us. We shouldn't see this as a negative. We should see this as a positive. This is an enormous opportunity for us to make gains. We now know why we're ranking underneath these competitors. Our content isn't as thorough, and our title tag isn't as appealing. We need to get the date in there, and we also need to get a numbered list, and we need the exact keyword in there. So we've got our homework cut out for us. What we're going to do now is we're going to rewrite this content so that we satisfy that content score. We're going to hit at least 51, ideally a little higher than our competitors. And then I'm going to go into WordPress, which is where we live for our CMS, and I'm going to update the content in the exact same post. I'm not going to change the URL, and then I'm going to click publish. I'm going to republish it so that it has a new published date, and then I'm going to reindex it through Search Console so that Google finds the new piece of content. That's everything that you need to do for reoptimizing content. You just rinse, repeat, and go through the entire list that we just talked about until you're done with every piece of content. If you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe for me, please. It's a big help. It helps me keep doing these videos. I'll see you in the next one.